Hi guys, and welcome to Mom Babes, where every mom is a babe. And if you're like, Christina, I don't feel like a babe, I currently have peanut butter in my hair, then this channel is especially for you. I make videos for moms who are creatives, and if you're like, I am not a creative, that's a lie, because raising a live human being is basically the most creative thing that there is. Be sure to subscribe and ding the bell to get notified when I release a new video so that you never miss one. Today we are learning how to make a bow tie. So this journey for me started when I wanted to make a baby's first birthday cake smash outfit. And so I wanted to do the suspenders with a bow tie, and I just love the suspenders and the bow ties on the boys. And since I have two, I love to make them match all the time. So if you're like me and want to have the matching bow ties, this is gonna be so exciting. Obviously, you can also just make a bow tie for Christmas or Easter or for funsies, just because bow ties are super cute. The one note I will say in this video is the measurement for the neck portion that goes around the neck. So ideally what you would want to do is measure the neck of the kid that you're making it for, and then you will add extra length. So if you want to wear it for a while and you want a big overlap, then you'll add an extra 4 inches so that you'll do 2 inches of Velcro on each side. But if you want a smaller overlap, which is probably better and a little more comfortable, you'll do an extra 2 inches and then do 1 inch of Velcro on either side. This will make sense when you watch the video. If you want a happy medium, you can add the 3 inches and have like 1.5 inches on each side of overlap. So that's the one thing I did for the video. I made the full length 18-inch one, and that would be good for probably a kid of up to like 7 years old, pretty standard. And you're gonna have your Velcro included in that 18 inches. But for the baby, I ended up doing 15 inches, which included the measurement plus the overlap for the Velcro. So like I said, the best way to proceed is just to do the measurement on your own kid and then add 2 to 4 inches depending on how much overlap you want, and that will give you the bow tie that is best fitted to your kid. So let's jump in. You will need a pattern at least ½ yard, Velcro soft and rough side, I do 5/8 of an inch, scissors, matching thread and needle, and a sewing machine. You will also need an iron and an ironing board, which are not pictured, along with a chopstick and or a safety pin, so you'll be able to use either one of those. We'll be making 3 different cuts with patterns. The first one is going to be 8 inches on the top by 6 inches on the side. The second will be 3 inches along the top and 2 inches along the side. This one is more up to the measurement of the neck that you'll be making the bow tie for. I did 18 inches on the top just to be safe. You can always trim later, and you do want the 2 inches at least on the side. When you cut them out, they'll look like this. Now we are going to fold them long ways. So you are going to fold both the 8-inch pieces together with the right sides facing each other. We're going to seam along the top and the side. Same thing for this, you're gonna fold it long ways, so along the top and the side, and we will do the same for our long piece as well. Like I said, you do want to make sure it's folded long ways. The part I'm sewing now I folded was this 6-inch part, so that's what's making the side right here. On your corner, make sure you insert your needle and then pull it through. And this long edge is the 8-inch edge, so you do want to make sure that that is your long edge. And you will keep the end open so that we are able to turn it inside out later on. Now we're going to do the same for our little piece. This one's a little easier to tell, but the long side is going to be how you fold it on this side. And same thing, we are going to leave one side open so that we can turn it inside out later on. Finally, we are going to do our long piece. Originally I did the 18 inches, so we sew it along the small side and all the way down on the seam. We are going to leave the end open on this as well. So now you should have 3 pieces. We're gonna go ahead and flip these guys inside out, which with this bigger one, you can kind of just do on your own and work it through. When you get to the edge, you are gonna need help with the corners. So this is where you'll bring in your chopstick and just kind of make sure you pull those corners in. And we have flipped it inside out. With this little guy, you can try to work it as much as you can with your hands, and then put the chopstick at the end and kind of push it through, and it's gonna pull all the way through. Now this next one is the hardest. This is probably the most tedious part of this whole thing. So there are 2 options here. I'm gonna show you how to do the chopstick one, which is basically just putting it on one side. I like to alternate sides of the chopstick to kind of move the pattern. I'll move it to the other side and kind of push that way. And you want to be gentle and just kind of wiggle it through. It is going to be tight as it's, you know, only 2 inches. The other option is to take a safety pin and connect that to the end. And then when you push the safety pin head through the loop, you will see that it's going to create kind of a point right here. And so you're just going to want to push and feed that point all the way through. I prefer the chopstick method, so that's what I ended up doing, and that seemed the best for me. You just kind of work the end and push it and pull it and drag it through. Go ahead and throw in some Netflix and chill while you get this going, and you will feel so victorious once it is done. So now you can see it's kind of rough, so we're gonna iron them so that they look nice and pretty to work with, like this. So now we're going to take our large rectangle and we are going to fold it in half to sew the unfinished end to the finished end right along here. So now you can see we have a stitch along this end right here. Now you're going to go ahead and flip it inside out so that the rough edge is going to be on the inside and the outside seam is much prettier. Go ahead and align the seam with the middle back. See, it's right there in the back along the middle. And we are going to create our bow shape. So the first thing you want to do is kind of bunch it in the middle to make a little hill, and then bring the ends together and pinch it in the middle. So this is kind of the style that I like. There are more options, and it'll look different from the other side as well. To go ahead and knot your thread, take your needle, and we're gonna insert it while you're really gripping the middle pretty tightly. Pull it through to get it started, and then we are simply gonna wrap the thread around the bow and wrap and wrap and wrap. You wanna make sure that it is very snug, it's very tight, that structure isn't gonna go anywhere. And once you're satisfied and do a little overkill of wrapping, which is what I did, you're gonna go ahead and thread it through and then tie it off by looping your needle through the open loop. And why not just do another one for safety? There we go. Might look something like mine, which is not perfectly even, but don't worry because your middle piece is gonna cover up a multitude of sins. And based on how you shift it, you can kind of make it a little more even. So if it doesn't come out perfect, if you weren't able to hold it perfectly while you were sewing, don't worry. We're still gonna be able to come back in and make it look like you meant it to be that way. You can also do the other side. If you like the way that this bow looks on this side with the fold going in the middle instead of out, you have options on which way you want the bow to face. Now, we are going to take our long piece and we are going to figure out the measurement for where we want our Velcro to be. So this is where your own measurements might come into play. If you do the full 18 inches on the measurement, you are gonna wanna leave at least 3 to 4 inches, so around 14, which means you're gonna have about 4 inches of Velcro on either side. If you want to shorten it to fit your baby, If it'll be less, then you don't need as many. You may only need 2 instead of 4, or 3 instead of 4 inches of Velcro, as opposed to the full 4 inches. Typically, babies are around 15 inches, which would include room for the Velcro. So actually, my baby's neck was measuring 13 inches, so I did 15 inches and then the 2-inch Velcro. But you can do it either way. Again, we're using the 5/8 inch Velcro. Go ahead and tear that monster open. And then you will cut your respective pieces like this. We are gonna go ahead and fold over this long end here of the neck piece and put our Velcro on. So let's go ahead and pin down this rough edge. And see, we've stitched it here. Now we are gonna sew on top. So this rough Velcro side is kind of like sewing paper, so you wanna go kind of slow to make sure that you can manage it. You can see I'm going super slow to guide it. I'm also trying to get as close to the edge of the Velcro as possible. Put the needle in and turn it, put the foot back down, and sew that final edge. And as you can see, I am going just ridiculously slow to make sure that I get a nice clean line. The most important parts is that you make sure that your other Velcro is on the opposing side. You don't want them to be on the same side, you want them to be on opposite sides so that they will connect. So go ahead and sew on your soft side Velcro. Same thing, take your time to make sure you get that nice edge. One side, and then flip it to the other side. As you can see here, we have it on one side, and then if you flip it over, your Velcro's on the other side, so that when you put them together, they will actually connect. If you put them on the same side, you're gonna end up with a twist, which will be very uncomfortable. We're gonna take our bow and attach it to the neck piece. Go ahead and pick the side that you want your pretty bow to be on, and put the other side against the neck piece, flip it inside out, knot your thread and take your needle. And I kind of lined it up at the edge here and just barely got a tiny bit of this neck piece fabric and then a tiny bit of the bow to make my first stitch. And then you're gonna go along this last piece, just kind of grabbing just the edge and trying to get the middle of where that bow is as you are threading through. I did some stitches like this where I pulled and kind of cinched it a little so that it would stay nice and snug and not go anywhere. I tend to be kind of an overkiller when it comes to hand sewing things, so you may not need to be as aggressive as I am, but you're gonna wanna stitch right there. Now you can see my bow is totally uneven. It is way smaller on the left side than on the right side. If this also happened to you, don't worry, we're gonna be able to fix it and no one will ever know. So you'll go ahead and wrap your little piece around the middle and kind of adjust it to where it's going to look pretty. Now you do wanna make sure that the rough side is going to be on the underneath, and then the pretty side is gonna be on the outside. So I kind of pulled it and adjusted it to where they both look like they're even, like I did it totally on purpose. Go ahead and flip it over. Like I said, the rough side, you wanna make sure that that is underneath. The pretty side, rough and pretty, I don't know if that's a thing, but that's what I'm calling them. Take your needle and thread after you have knotted your thread, and you are going to just barely grab the edges of the fabric, push your needle through, and you're gonna sew along this seam right here in nice little pretty loops. I'm sure there's a name for this stitch, but I don't know what it is because, like I said, I'm not a master sewer. But you'll just continue to pull all the way through. And you can kind of see right here how I am just trying to grab as little bit of fabric as I can. And once you've gone all the way across, you want to make sure that you loop it and then put your needle through the loop to tie your knot. And as always, why not do another knot for a second measure? And you are basically done. Wow. Last final step is to go ahead and remove that string and any other loose threads you might have from your project. Look how adorable this bow tie is. Oh my gosh, your baby's gonna look so adorable in this. I just cannot. Tell me that's not the cutest thing ever. That's the cutest thing you've ever seen. Look at you, making bow ties. That's amazing. Congratulations, first of all. Have you tried it on your kid? Is it not the cutest thing? Like, don't pretend, don't lie to me and tell me it is not the cutest thing ever. Oh my gosh, I love the bow tie. If you have any notes on the measurements, what worked great for your kid, what age they are, so that other people can gather the information and it will help others be able to use this video more fully, that would be amazing. I'm also going to include some links for other parts of the birthday cake smash outfit, including the bloomers and the hat, and the link to the full video. I do a whole video on the full smash outfit for those pioneers that want to go ahead and do the whole thing from start to finish. If no one has told you yet today, you are doing a good job. Thanks guys for watching Mom Babes. I really do appreciate that you are here with me. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully it was fun and you got to do something a little creative. I will catch you next time on Mom Babes.